Hey guys, I don't know if everyone can hear me. Let me know if we're good in the chat. Just making sure I have all my audio fixed there. I had a little bit of an echo for a minute. Today we are going to be playing some Dragapult EX, and we've got some very cool new cards. Let's see. So our biggest new additions are, the Dusknoir line. This adds a lot of versatility for the deck. It allows Phantom Dive to KO a lot more things on the bench a lot easier. Knock out those 7 HP Dreepies, Charmanders, Pidgey. Even hitting the Pidgey with the Dusclops can be relevant at times because you do like 50 to it, then you kill it with the 10, and then you can put 10 to set up stuff on, or you can put the other 10 to set up the rest of the damage to set up on other things, basically. So we can set up other Charmanders, other Dreepies, Pheasantipity down to 200. Very relevant math always with this Dusclops in the deck. And then Dusknoir can even let us like one-shot a Rotom with the bench Phantom Dive damage, or it can let us one-shot an active with the Phantom Dive damage on the active on Charizard or Mirror. And then the only other card that we've added really from Shrouded Fable is that Pheasantipity. So this sort of serves the same purpose as like a Barrel would in the deck, just letting us keep drawing cards even after our Pidgeot's been knocked out, or allow us to draw more cards while we still have Pidgeot in play to piece together those combos. Especially with Dusknoir, we can need a lot more help to sort of pull off those big Dusknoir plays. So let's just hop right into some ladder games. How's everyone doing today? This deck has pretty good matchups across the board. The Charizard matchup's really good. The Gardevoir matchup's really good. The Regidrago matchup is pretty close. So that is one sort of a little bit nervous part. The KRM can be really annoying. A turn 2 like Hawlucha play can be really annoying if they can like knock out double Dreepy. So the KRM matchup is definitely much shakier. It's also like if you go second against KRM, they can usually get turn 2 Phantom Dive, get that Pidgey knocked out right away. Pretty hard to play the matchup without Pidgeot, so even if you get the Pidgeot out, like if they don't Phantom Dive it right away, they can still knock it out with Lost Impact, so it ends up being pretty tough. But Dragapult, pretty good matchups elsewhere. And the Dusclops and Dusknoir do help a lot in the Drago matchup because we can do 50 with Dusclops, put it down to 230, and then kill it with Defiance Band. This is a pretty solid hand. Definitely leaving a lot to be decided. But based on the Squabbit start, I'm just going to assume this is Arceus. I can't think of any other decks that do or should play Squabbit. So what I wanted to do there was just Nest Ball for Rotom and draw 3, but the Rotom is prized. So I'm probably just going to get another Dreepy here. I'm just going to do a quick scan. One Iono. Nope, it's in hand. No Counter Catchers prized. One Nest Ball prized. Psychic prized. Nothing too crazy. I could go for the Duskull here, but I think I'm just going to go for Dreepy. That way if I find Dracloak off the Iono, I have a higher chance of finding Dragapult. And then I'm kind of scared of like a random Enhanced Tamer or something, but Arc doesn't usually play Enhanced Tamer, so I'll just use the Neo. Well, I'm glad you're recovering from the cold. Can be annoying. I feel like when you have a cold, people still like expect you to, be up and running and doing stuff, like going to work and stuff. And a lot of time, I mean, even when it's, it's just a cold, you still, it can be really tough to get that stuff done when you're feeling sick, so. Not fun. Scovillain. Okay, so Scovillain EX is what we're playing against here. I believe that's how you say it, but definitely not 100% sure. Just gonna attach Psyche to the bench and Iono. Nothing really off of this Iono. We can Poffin though to get more set up. I'm pretty sure the Scovillain tries to dump our hand. So as long as we can get Pidgeot out, we should be fine. Yeah, I'll just pass you. Had to cancel a cup on Sunday. That sucks. Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, there's a bunch of cups in my area this weekend, but I'm pretty busy and I missed reg for them. They both sold out on pre-reg, so decided I'm just gonna not do any locals this weekend. I didn't get to do any locals last weekend either because I had a bunch of family stuff going on, but I already have 2 challenge wins and a cup top 4, so not too worried about going to a ton of stuff. I'm glad you liked my episode of the Memory Capsule podcast. I had a lot of fun doing it. That was a good episode to record. I think I have to go for, discard around and cover everyone's hand, discard top. Okay, that's not really scary at all. I think I want to go for just the guaranteed Dragapult here, which I'll need Stone to do, so I've got to play the Lumen anyways. Ooh, I did not notice my Stone was prized, so that definitely changes things. I'm probably just going to Iono then here, so let's go ahead and just grab something I want to put on the bottom. That on the bottom. That's one thing that I'll say a lot of people, like a small mistake people will make is, only 1 card in hand, but I'm still gonna go for it, is like in that Lumineon spot, sometimes people will like not want their opponent to know that they made a mistake. Like I obviously made a mistake of not prize checking the Forest Seal Stone that I got punished for there, and so people will like Lumen for the Arven just so that their opponent doesn't know that they made a mistake, instead of playing the Iono, but it's definitely better to play the Iono there. This is, I mean, about as good of an Iono as could have possibly gotten. The only thing better would be if these were like Rare Candy Pidgeot. Otherwise, like a perfect Iono. I kind of want to knock up Bidoof, but I can also just put this in range. It's probably better. The other thing is, like, okay, if I knock out the Bidoof, the other one's probably going to evolve into a barrel, and then I won't be able to knock that out with Phantom Dive on the bench. So if I do 200 or 60 to this, then most likely they won't be able to find double Barrel, so there will probably be another 60 HP Pokemon for me to pick off next turn on their bench, as long as I leave them both there. I can just knock out for 3 prizes next turn. They might get 2 Barrel set up though, it's not that crazy, which they immediately drop double Bib. Get to travel all over the UK, though I'm feeling well enough this week, I'm going to help some people test this format. Yeah, everyone's in crunch time, just a couple more weeks left until Worlds, and then even then I think people are pretty, I don't know, I think this format's going to be really cool, so I think it's good for everybody to start playing some games of it. Especially if you plan on playing like one of these Dusknoir decks, they tend to be pretty hard to pilot and use the Dusknoir correctly. Even like Drago is deceivingly easy to play. I think it takes more skill than people realize to sequence absolutely correctly. The hammer, gonna hit my Neo up, or I mean, it's not too big of a deal. I have the other one powered up on the bench. Will be a much bigger deal if they were to find like counter catcher. I think they did judge me already, so, or no, they're judging me now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they play counter catcher. Oh my god, are we gonna see the 3 crushing hammerheads? Oh, the 3 crushing hammerheads. That's brutal. And they're not even gonna take a knockout, so we're not gonna use Mela. And I don't play Silene or Roseanne in this list, so we are not getting a attack here. I am running the Pheasantipity. That's pretty funny. I mean, I think we'll be fine. It's just a little annoying. We'll go Recon. We might not be fine, though. This could be really bad. I think I'm going to take this boss. The Collapse Stadium is tempting to get rid of the Luminion, but they can't one-shot Luminion anyways, so... I was going to take... I think I'm going to take the second Arven, because I think I might want to go ahead and play an Arven next turn as well. Don't have a Vessel in deck. So let's just go Candy. This is really bad, though. I'm just going to have to quick search for an energy. Because, like, I can't even move this out of the active, right? Next turn. I guess I can Turo, but then I can't quick search for the Psychic. Because I want to Arven for Super Odd. Quick search for Psychic would be the way to get that into play. I'll have double Recon, but I actually think I'm just going to Jet Headbutt, do 70. The 70 damage, unfortunately, isn't super relevant, but this at least gets me an attacker next turn, and then they'll knock this out, and then I can Mela to set up the next one. But yeah, the 3 Crushing Hammerheads is pretty good. Gonna go for another hammer. I don't think this one's worth it. I think even if they hit heads on this one, I don't think they should do this. I think they should save the other hammer to potentially use it a stronger time. But it would have been funny if they got the 4/4 on hammers like that. So you have the Nest Ball, not a big deal. Pidgey, also not a big deal. I will just Recon Directive. We'll see what we draw off the Recons first. Definitely want that Mela. Recon Directive again. So I want to keep my hand as big as possible here now, because I don't want the Mela to get discarded. Okay, so I'm going to Super Odd, quick search for the Psychic. I do need to take a Psychic Energy off the prizes. To stream attackers together here. Okay, and then I don't feel like I want to boss. I just want to knock out this active. Vacuum, maybe, is the best thing to grab here. It seems good. I will just grab the Vacuum to get rid of the Defiance Band, because I do think the math on that is relevant into my next Dragapult. care about the Lake Headquarters. Just go Psychic now. And then Phantom Dive. And I'm just going to put 60 on one of the barrels. Put it in Phantom Dive range for next turn. So we're going down to 3. This should be pretty easy at this point. We can just knock out another one of these guys. We could even win next turn with Dusklops. Would you ever consider taking out the Dusk line in favor of cards like Silene, Palpad, and Night Stretcher? So I do play Palpad, I think. Maybe double check my list. But yeah, I do play Palpad. The Night Stretcher is a card that I do want to fit. Silene I don't really like, to be honest. I would rather like a Roseanne, if anything, to guarantee getting the Neo Upper Energy back. I'm just not a big fan of Silene. I think it's way too weak of a supporter effect for the potential to get double tails. And I just don't think there are that many situations where it's worth taking the risk on playing a supporter that does nothing for your turn in most situations. I know Little Dark Fury has been playing the Silene in like the Poltzard list, and I think there it makes, I mean, I don't know if I say that it makes more sense, but like I know that he's playing it for the control matchup, which is fair. I'm sure it does help in the control matchup. That's just not a matchup that I personally think is super worth teching for, especially if the tech could potentially just not do anything, like the Silene can. So not a huge fan of it. But the Dusknoir line, it's something I'd maybe consider cutting, but it's honestly kind of the only reason that I'm playing the Pidgeot build. I'm sure a lot of you have seen my Xatu list, and I do still like that list better if I'm not playing Dusknoir. So I believe I simply have game here. I'm just going to use the Ultra Ball to make sure. We'll discard less useful cards to be sure. So Ultra Ball gets the Dragapult. My rare candy is in deck. Yeah. So yeah, I have game. I can just go Dragapult, retreat, quick search. I don't even need to use the Dusknoir. I could also just use the Dusklops. But the Dusklops is prized. So yeah, I quick search, rare candy, Dusknoir, use the Dusknoir, do 130 to the active Pokemon, and then Phantom Dive, knock out the active, knock out the Bidoof, or the Barrel on the bench. And if I didn't have Dusklops prized, or I think I might have even discarded it earlier, but if I had Dusklops, I could also just go 50 on the active, and then I could knock out the active, and I'd be 10 short of game, but it'd still be worth it to knock out the active there. Alright, let's go again. Yeah, the Dusknoir just lets you do so much. Like, obviously, like there, it let us one-shot. We probably would have won the game either way there, but, you know, that's because we were playing against Skaville and EX. So we probably, from the start of the game, would have won the game no matter what there, even though they got triple crushing hammerheads that turn to knock off Psychic Fire Neo all in the same turn. They do also have, well, we have Pheasantipity, so we can still draw into whatever we Silene on top. So there is still synergy there with the Fez, but obviously that only works if you got knocked out on your last turn, so a little bit less often. But I do think that, yeah, I think Silene's okay. I know even when I asked LDF about it, or at least like last time I talked to him about it, I just like asked him after he won a challenge with the deck, I think, and he said he liked the card because he did end up using it to beat a few control matchups, but I think he said he didn't use it elsewhere. So I'm just not a huge fan of a tech that is specifically for control in the deck. And I don't necessarily think that Silene, if I was going to play a tech for control, I don't think that Silene would be it. it. I think like I'd rather like a second Turo. Even Roseanne, I would just like to guarantee get the Neo upper back. Do I want to go first with both builds? I'd actually say I want to go second more often. But they're against Gardevoir. Actually, with the Pulp Pidge build, I'd say I pretty much always want to go second. It's just so hard to get turn 2 attack going first when you need to find, if you miss turn 1 attach, you need to find Neo Up Energy to do it. With the Pult Xatu build, I'll go first into a handful of things, like Guardy I'll go first into. That's the big one off the top of my head. Let's see what I want to nest ball for here. I think I'm probably just going for Rotom here. I'm a little scared of like Rare Candy Zard Boss though if I do that. Yeah, I'll just... My hand is pretty good, but I'm not getting attacked the next turn because of the Alakazam active. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the Dreepy. I'm not going to take the risk that they have it. Oh, I have the... I didn't play Urban anyways. I'm going to grab... So, I should have nest balled for... I should have grabbed Rotom there and went for Poffin off the Urban. And then I would have got Dreepy and Duskull. And then... But here I'm just going to... Instant charge. I'm not going to attach the stone because they usually play Lost Vacuum and Zard. This, I think, if you're playing Zard or if you're playing this needs to become this because you don't want to go second against the Dusknoir build and just have the Dusclops pop your Pidgey. You know, you could play a 1-1. That's a little bit better, but because then you can put the 60 HP one down against matchups that you know might play Dusknoir. But generally speaking, I would say it's better to just play 2 of the 60 HP one because you can always prize the 60 HP one going second against the Dusknoir deck, and then you're probably just not going to get your Pidgeot out. So, but yeah, I would say generally with Pulp Pidge, I prefer to go second, just because it's hard to get turn 2 attack going first. You just set up better. And as Pult Xatu, I still go second, generally speaking, but against Guardy, I like to go first. And Chenpao, I like to go first no matter what I'm playing. Okay, so they have Rare Candy Pidge, Rare Candy Zard. I really don't mind if they just knock out the active here for me. We have a pretty good hand if they do. Because we can go Ultra Ball for Pidge. We can even Fez to draw 3. I don't know if I necessarily want to bench the Fez here, but... Ooh, okay. So that's more annoying, but we can Stone for the Neo Upper Energy still. So yeah, we're definitely going to bring this up. Draw a Cloak. I'm going to recon first to see what I draw. Okay. I think I'm just going to take that. I am going to bench the Fez. Okay, so I don't even need to use the stone here. We'll just go Neo Upper, Rare Candy, Dragapult. I'm going to go ahead and Poffin for the Duskull. And then I'm just going to Phantom Dive. I don't really want to use anything that I don't have to here. So yeah, let's just Phantom Dive. I'm going to put 60 here. It's set up for the Devo. And then it's also set up for Alakazam knockout with Phantom Dive. Charmander has a good chance of evolving into Charmeleon this turn anyways, so don't necessarily want to put pressure on that. I think we're in a pretty good spot. We have the Dusclops for next turn, so that'll start getting that evolved up. I don't think we'll want to use it next turn, but we'll definitely want to use Dusknoir at some point here. We could just go for the Dusknoir next turn and knock out this Charizard. If they don't mention another Charmander, we can potentially just knock both out. But it'll have to depend on what they do here. We could also go Rare Candy, or we could just go Dusclops, 50 on here, Alakazam, move 20 off of it onto the Charmander, knock it out, and then Devo, Pidgeot, Charizard, which obviously is like pretty much game winning if they don't mention anything else. But I expect them to probably evolve this into Charmeleon this turn if they're smart. Arctina is broken. So broken. I like Arctina. It's fun. Have not played it in a long time though. Okay, so they're gonna boss the Duskull. They see the play there. How is your matchup in Zard with Dusknoir with this deck? I think it's still favored because you also get the gain of Dusknoir. So it's like it was favored before both decks got Dusknoir. I think it's still favored after both decks got Dusknoir. Well, Dusknoir definitely helps them in the matchup more than it helps you. So I think that like your matchup is slightly worse than it was before Shrouded Fable. I mean, I can still just double knockout. So we'll just go. Yeah, I don't think it was worth it for them to boss that Duskull if that's all they were gonna do. Yeah, we're definitely board wiping. The only thing is that they can still. They can't even attack with Radzar because I'm not gonna take enough prizes. So yeah, we'll just go move 10 off of this. Yeah, they just did not play that very well. Gonna Vessel the Manaphy. Start getting the other Dragapult set up. I'm not going to evolve it just because I want to have more draw. But I will Poffin for the Pidgey. Yeah, because I can get Pidgeot out next turn. And then yeah, I'll just Phantom Dive. I'm going to knock out the Charizard and the Charmander. And just in a very good spot from there. They are not attacking next turn unless they play like their own Mela or something, and they can set up Radzard that way. But I highly doubt it. This deck on turn 3 took a 6-prize turn against me. I was playing Drago on turn 3. Yeah, so they go turn 2. You probably had like Mew-EX on bench, so they went like Dusknoir on your Mew-EX. Seems pretty good. Yeah, the deck is crazy for taking like huge prize turns. The Dusknoir is so good. It like there's so many Pokemon that it puts in like 2 prizers even that the Dusknoir puts into Phantom Dive range, and then also like being able to just like pop 50 onto a Kirlia when there's no damage on your opponent's board to knock out double Kirlia. Very good. Lets you one-shot so many big EXs with in the active. Like being able to one-shot a Charizard, so good. Where can I get the list? I'll scroll over it between games here. So if someone wants to snipe it off the stream, they can. I will say, I don't know if like Pult Pidge like a week ago was like my #1 Pult build. I think I'm still debating between Pult Zatu and Pult Pidge, which one is better this format. I like Pult Pidge because I get to use the Dusknoir, but and I don't feel like you can fit, or even if you do fit it in, I don't think you can like super well utilize without Pidgeot, the Dusknoir line. So I don't think as of now that the Dusknoir line is worth it in the Pult Zatu build, but the Pult Zatu build does still feel generally more consistent, more aggressive. Especially now that Charizard can now like pretty consistently like chase down your Pidgeot by hitting it with Dusknoir. It's a lot harder to play around. Like last format, the matchup was very much like trying to control how much damage your opponent could do. Now you can't really do that. Makes it a lot more annoying. So having your draw engine not be Pidgeot focused can definitely be better, but you know, Pidgeot against Pult Xatu, they can also just like Dusknoir, knock out your Xatu turn 2, and leave you with no way to accelerate energy. So there are a lot of pros and cons to both lists. I'm not 100% sure which is better at the moment. I think both are. The consistency boost from Pult Xatu is something that I do still really like. But yeah, I'll scroll over this list quick after this game. But you can find my lists for all 3 decks in an article I wrote for Szymanski's Corner, and with as well as like a guide on why everything's in each list and what the pros and cons are and matchup spreads are for each list. And that includes my Pult Pidge list, my Pult Xatu list, and my Pult Zard list. All for Shrouded Fable format. On fellow team member Alex Szymanski's Substack article site called Szymanski's Corner. I'll just type it out there in case anyone doesn't know how to spell it. And that also includes a lot of helpful information about how to play the decks and the matchup spreads. So my opponent has bought themselves a turn, but I don't know how much they can really do with it. Obviously, I think they'd like to counter catcher up this Pheasantipity and knock that out. But we're still pretty well set up here to seal the game up. If they take 2 prizes here, we just win, right? Just counter catcher this. Okay, they're gonna Iono us. Yeah, so I mean, they're gonna knock this out. We just need to find a way to bring this up, which we have Arven. So we can grab counter catcher. You can even grab Stone for Pidgeot. Just pull this up. Painful Spoons, move 10 from here onto the Charmander. And then Phantom Dive for 3 prize cards. Spoons. I love Painful Spoons. But I'm sure that comes as a surprise to absolutely no one. I do like Painful Spoons better than Radzard. I think Radzard's better against Bolt. Might be slightly better against Drago, but it's close. Alakazam is actually pretty good against Drago. But Alakazam is better against, like, definitely better against almost everything else other than the Drago and Teal Bolt. So Kazam is doing work. Kazam, so good. Especially with Dusknoir, like, the fact that you can spread out the Dusknoir damage as well, because you can go, like, 50 to Iron Hands, let's say, and then move 20 off of it onto something on the bench, and then, like, say you're playing against Lost Box and they amp you, right? You just go Dusknoir on the Iron Hands, and then move 20 onto a Comfy, double knockout, or triple prizes, not triple knockout. But yeah, I'll scroll through the list here, so you can pause and get it there. If anyone has any questions about the list, feel free to drop them too, or like other considerations. I'll answer why or why not. I think I'm like pretty happy with the list so far. It feels very consistent. It's like almost exactly where I want it. I think I'd like maybe a third Psychic Energy. Just like one extra energy card could be nice. And maybe a Nightly Stretcher. I think those are the only 2 cards that I've really missed. But the list is pretty tight. I think you could maybe get away with just one Dracloak, because if you play the Nightly Stretcher, but that's controversial, probably. Nightly Stretcher just does also synergize really well with this hand's terrible. Just go fire. I mean, if he knocks me out, I just kind of lose anyway. Actually, I guess I could go... It's probably Teal Bolt. I mean, it could be Drago. It's probably Drago, actually. Well, either way, I'm just going to hope that it's Bolt and they knock me out and I can draw through with Fez. But yeah, I think Nightly Treasure just synergizes really well with the Dusknoir line as well, as just being generally good in the deck, so I would really like to fit one, but deck space is tight. I definitely don't want to cut Rod, because I already play a pretty thin basic energy line, just the 5 copies. 3 fire, 2 psychic. Okay, all they did was get Fez out, so we are fine. I'll just go Ultra Ball. They're probably going to take a lead here. Pretty sure I'm grabbing Lumen for Arven for Poffin Stone. Just debating if I wanted to get rid of the Dracloak instead, but I think I'm just going to keep it. My hand's still not great. Oh, Lumen. That was my first deck search, so I had no way of knowing, but Lumen is prized. I will just grab Dreepy. Dusclops is also prized. Stone is in deck. Okay, this is not looking good. Fire. Pass. Yeah, I just wanted to go Lumen for Arven for Poffin Stone. And then probably just Stone for Iono next turn. But no such luck. So definitely Bolt at this point, I think. Oh yeah, there's a Lightning too. So I know there's a Drago list going around that plays that like can attack with Bolt, I think. So there's the Bolt. I really hope they knock out the Alakazam. That would be best case scenario for me. Because obviously it's better for them to just like wait and knock this out. Or even just knock this out, but I mean, definitely would rather knock this. I only think that if they don't have a boss or a bundle or something, they should not attack at all. Just to deny me the Fez. But they have a head, so they're going to bring out the Dreepy. Oh. Nope. So I'm still alive. If they just kill this, I can maybe hit Iono off the top into Candy Pult Psychic. Every time. 100% of the time I hit that. If I get nothing good, then I just have to retreat. I mean, that doesn't get me anything, really. I mean, it doesn't get me an attack. It's obviously not a lot of worse things I could have drawn, but a lot of better things could have drawn as well. We'll go... I have to take the Psychic because I want to retreat here. We'll just Arven. Poffin. Stone. Probably gonna go Nestball Stone. Get the Rotom. Rotom is prized as well. It's not looking good, folks. Poffin. This is where Call Her Family would be nice, but 50 HP is a little bit too low. Go retreat into this, attach here, and turn. We gotta find Iona next turn. I don't even know if it's probably not enough with 2 fire and discard 2. I should retreat with the. I guess I only have 1 of each left in deck, anyways, and I can melee the fires. So. Depends on like how much of a board they can build here. Oh, that's not good. I think I'll wait. I'll top deck and see what I get. If I get Iono, maybe I can counter catcher something that can't attack, and then force them to find Sada if Iono. Probably this. What do you think of a Dragapult plus Zard deck instead of just playing them as separate decks? I think Pult Zard is also a solid deck, but I do not think it is as good of a deck as Zard, Dragapult, or like Pult Zatu, Pult Pidge, and Zard, I think are all better decks than the combination of the two. They're just much more consistent. You can fit the Dusknoir line in. I do have the. I would play the Dusknoir line in the Pultzard build as well, but I mean that only adds to it being less consistent than the decks that don't play both. So personally, I think the deck is just like too inconsistent for me to justify running it. So yeah, that's kind of my take on Pultzard. I mean it's definitely good. I could be wrong, like maybe Tord will bring. I know Zach and LDF have been playing a Pultzard list too, so maybe I have a few team members even who will bring like a really good Pultzard list to Worlds that that's more consistent than the one that I was testing, or then even testing Tord's last list from NAIC. I did not feel like it was consistent enough. Like it felt consistent enough for best of 3, but it did not feel like I didn't want to play it to custom challenges. Felt like a little bit too much of a brick for that. Okay, I'm bringing this up because I have to talk back. I need to find Pidgeot is like one of my outs that could put me back into the game. That is, Ultra Ball does not work though. Not with Lumen prized. All right, before this next game, I am gonna go to the washroom quick, so I'll be right back. Alright, back in the washroom. If you are asking about where you can find the list, it is, I did show it earlier in the stream, so if you want to scroll through and look for that, then you can get the list there. I do also have an article on Schmansky's Corner that has my list, as well as my list for Pult Zatu and Pult Zard, as well as like a detailed guide on their matchups and the pros and cons of each build. No problem. Yeah, I think that Pult Zard is a good deck. It's just less consistent than the other options. But obviously it has a very different matchup spread than the other options because of Charizard, because of having both of those in the deck. And it's just the Dragon matchup using your Pult Zatu build, -1 Psychic, +1 Nightly Stretcher. I would... Basically, you want to set up for like a multi-prize turn. The Kyurem is like the most annoying part, is if you get Kyuremed, it's pretty hard to come back from that, as long as they can set up a attack again on the following turn. If they Kyurem, discard all their energy, and then they miss attack the next turn, then you can just sort of come back in the game anyways. But generally, you want to chase their Mew on the turn that you Iono them to a low hand size. So like ideally you do 200 to a Drago, and then some damage to the bench, and then on the next turn, if you can go Iono, Counter Catcher for Mew EX, Alakazam, damage off of the bench, or off of whatever you Phantom Dive to on the bench, and move the damage onto the Regidrago V-Star that you did 200 to, and then you can go ahead and knock out Mew and the Regidrago on the same turn, and Iono on the same turn, and then you can just go ahead and take your last 2 prizes the turn after that, because you should have enough damage left over to take your final prizes on a Ogerpon. So that is like generally your line. The difficulty comes mostly where the early game is concerned, where if they get like turn 2 Kyurem or turn 2 like Hawlucha, knockout double Dreepy, or even just like knocking out your Natu if they go first, can be pretty annoying. So like you definitely want to try to Evo TM the Natu up to be out of Phantom Dive range on turn 1 if you go second, and then if you go first, you can just try to evolve it in advance. But I would always go second. If you go first, a lot of time like it's probably going to be better to just Evo TM anyways, since it's like they love picking off your low HP Pokemon. If you can like get the Dragapult out and then just Evo TM with it to make sure you get your Zatu out. Obviously, if you already drew, if you already have like a Dragapult active, Dracloak on bench, Zatu, then you don't need to Evo TM. But I say also keep in mind, like if they event like a Squawk turn 1, then you can go. You can pretty like relatively speaking pretty easily knock that out. Oh, it is. I didn't know because they opened Rotom, but definitely should not have benched that Rotom against Snorlax. Now I have an Alakazam and a Rotom in play. It's not great. At least I can attack with Alakazam though. I do play Turo, so it's not over. And collapsed. Definitely want to collapse. Let's go Ultra Ball, Arvin Catcher, get the Pidgeot, Candy Pidgeot, Attach Fire, Creepy, Arvin, definitely want this stone. I'm just going to take the Poffin to get the Duskull out. I've been trying to go first and Evo Cloak to Pult, but it's so hard, so I guess it's better to just go second. Yeah, you're more. I'd say it's better to go first than to Drago, just because they want to go first anyways, and then you can just Evo on turn 2. But um, generally, I would definitely go second. Just gonna get the Dracloak out. I don't need to candy evolve this. I'll just get the Dracloak and draw some cards. Turo for next turn, very nice. It's one of the cards I needed. I can instant charge, maybe get some more of the cards that I needed. This matchup's really not that bad. I actually think it's probably favored for me. I think I will probably still win this game even with the Alakazam start and the Rotom on bench. I'm gonna go with my Super Odd. I'll probably go for my Candy as the other card. Yep, Candy Super Odd. Next turn I'm just going to collapse the Rotom away, and then Turo the Alakazam, and then Nest Ball for another Pokemon, so that I can't have my Alakazam Erika. They usually don't play Vacuum, so Collapse should keep my bench at 4, which is good. Okay. Recon first. I guess I'll just take the fire. Quick search. So Collapse, Turo. I need Dragapult and Psychic. So let's grab those. I think most lists will not play Mantine, so I'm not gonna play around the Mantine this game unless I can, but I definitely cannot. Go Evolve, Psychic. If you can play around Mantine, it's always good to do so, but it's not necessary. Puffin, Dreepy, Collapsed. I think I'm just going to put all 6 on here. There's definitely an argument to be made to put the 6 on Snorlax, so you can go Phantom Dive, and then like a 30-30 Phantom Dive on 2 Snorlax if they bench a bunch. But in this board state, I feel like I just want to put the pressure on them. Like, the Dusknoir can knock out Rotom now, so I'm just going to put them in that spot where I could take a really, really big turn on them. Like, I even board wipe them from their perspective. Obviously, I don't have the pieces in hand to do so, but they don't know that. So now they have to bench another Snorlax. Or at least, like, Bravery Charm the Rotom, but even then I could, like, Vacuum, so. Well, I guess my Vacuum's gone. They're not going to expect me to play 2. Although they might play around something like Jamming Tower. But I'd like to see them use a Bravery Charm on this Rotom. I'd be fine with that. Nothing off the Misfortune Sisters. Gonna get another Snorlax down now. Counter Catcher. Probably the Pidgeot. That does open them up to me just retreating off a boss, though. I can also attack with Neo Upper. If they bang up the Pidgeot, then I'm just going to go boss this 30-30, and then that puts them both in Blustery Wind range. If they bring it back up, I can just Neo Upper Blustery Wind for a knockout. Hero's Cape, the Rotom. Okay, that's a little bit more annoying, so I can't knock it out here. Do I want to boss then? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna put the Neo Upper. Actually, I could go for, I guess, slow setup. I could go for Dusknoir this turn, and then go next turn. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna just grab Dusknoir and just evolve and pass. And then next turn I can go boss, Dusknoir, Phantom Dive for knockout. They don't really have a lot of good lines here. They're just gonna Arven for the catcher. That's fine. I'm getting rid of the Super Rod is pretty unfortunate, because I'd love to reuse, like use a Dusknoir on future turn. Okay, my other option is I could go Dusknoir 13 to this, puts it up to 190. I could put 13 on this. No, I don't think it's worth it. I'm gonna Ultra Ball away. I want to just keep the Radiant Alakazam option. So I go Dusknoir 13 on a Snorlax, put it down to 11 by moving 20 onto the Rotom. I'm still short. Yeah, I think I should just Ultra Ball for Dragapult, because I think I'm just going to Curse Blast. Knock it. I could wait a turn. No, I don't want to put the Alakazam down anyways. We'll just Curse Blast. So yeah, I should evolve one of these into Dragapult instead of grabbing the Dusknoir. Boss this up. Treat to Pult. Yeah, I discarded my Vacuum before I knew I was playing in Snorlax. We'll go 30, 30. So now they're both in range of 2 Phantom Dives for a knockout. Getting under 3, and then they're going to counter catch with the Pidgeot back up, and then we can just quick search for Neo Upper Energy for a knockout, and then they can move the Neo Upper Energy onto one of my Dreepies if they'd like. Thank you for the kind words. Let's see, 2 Snorlax. A handheld fan. Yeah, I think we're in a very good spot here. Fortune Sisters. Yeah, they will move the Neo onto the Pult. That is true. But then if they will be forced to draw more counter catchers, because they won't be able to knock all the energy off my Pult either. That Pult will be able to stay powered up. Let's bring up Dreepy. So I will miss attack this turn most likely, but I'm just going to go Psychic, Quick Search. Could do 70, but then the handheld fan. Actually, that's kind of fine. If I do 70, they move it with the fan. No, I think I'm just gonna Iono. Because I want to make their hand size smaller. They don't have Rotom. And then I will just pass. Because like I could have went for the Arven instead of the Iono, but I think I really wanted to disrupt them before I start attacking. I think I'm benching that. Quick Search. If I had a boss left, then I probably would have just went for the attack, because then I could set them up to both be knocked out by a boss, but I do not have that. Alright, so I think my best play is just Great Candy, Dragapult. And then, it's kind of scary though, because that's my last Dragapult. I still have Palpad for Turo though. I might even just go for the Palpad. No, I'll go for the Dragapult, because I can always Turo this. Just go Candy, Pult, and then just pass. Not going to attack for the same reason, just the damage doesn't matter when I don't have access to another boss. Well, assuming they put another Snorlax down, it doesn't matter. Obviously, if they just didn't, then I could just go Quick Search for Palpad, Lumen for boss, but I don't want to rely on having the boss here, because I don't have a good way to search for it. I do not want to bench the Lumen. So there comes down another Snorlax. That's fine. Like, boss is part of my game plan to win eventually, but not this second. So I'm just going to Phantom Dive, knock out 60 on here. They are thinking about something, maybe. Or they're just taking their time. I think we're in a fine spot. I think this matchup's pretty good overall. I think them hitting the super out off the Airy is pretty unfortunate, because we can use Dusknoir twice in this matchup. Like, you can just see based on the board state how good that would be. Neo upper in hand. Maybe I just attack with the Neo upper then. And then I can Quick Search for something else. Then I'll still need to find the fire next turn anyways. Both of the Misfortune Sisters are in discard. Okay, so the Palpad's relatively safe in my deck. I will just grab the fire. I got time. Let's attach this somewhere just to play around, going back into the deck off an Iono. So Phantom Dive, knockout, 60 here. We aren't really threatening game next turn like we are in their mind. I could have a second boss, or I could have the Palpad. But generally speaking, I don't think it's very likely that we'll have it, because I think they'll bench something here. Or Countercatcher the Dreepy. But if they don't bench anything and don't counter to the 3P, we can't just go quick search, Palpet, boss. Erika's would be worst case scenario, because this Lumen is very useful in us like cornering them into game. Yeah, now they're just taking their time. It's not an incredibly difficult decision. Maybe they're debating Psychic or Fire. I do think that the Xatu build is still good. I just think that this build has a lot more merit now that it has Dusknoir. It's hard to use Dusknoir with the Pult Xatu build. It's not super hard to get it out, and you can like Evo TM into the Dusclops, which is cool. But generally speaking, just using the Dusknoir in general is a lot tougher without quick search and like guaranteed access. So I think it's a lot closer for me. Last format, I was like all in, like Pult Xatu. This deck's way better. It's just more consistent. Now I'm like more on the fence, like where this deck can use Dusknoir really well thanks to quick search, and the Pult Xatu build, even if you do include the Dusknoir, without quick search, it's a lot harder to use. Or and there's just less situations where it is good because of how hard it is to use. But I do still think the Pult Xatu build is good. I think I mentioned earlier I'm not like 100% sure on which build I think is better. I think that like a week ago, oh they just left. A week ago, if you asked me, I would have said the Pult Pidge build was better because of the Dusknoir. Now I've come around a bit on like maybe Pult Xatu is still the way to go, just because of how much more consistent it is. I still hate playing Neo Upper Energy as my A spec, so. And Pult Zard I think is just a little bit too inconsistent in general. So there's definitely a lot of merit to Pult Xatu still. I did write an article on Shumanski's Corner, which contains what are still my current lists for both builds and Pult Zard, as well as like pros and cons to each list, and what their matchup spreads are. So if you're like thinking like local meta, then you might want to adjust which one you play based on their matchups into your local meta, because they do have Pult Xatu and Pult Pidge have much smaller differences in their matchup spreads, but there are some matchups that are, having Pidge versus Xatu makes a significant difference. Pult Zard, on the other hand, has like quite a different matchup spread than the other two because of the Zard option. Okay. Not a great turn one hand, but the Nest Ball does solve things though, because we have the stone. I think I will use that. Poffin. I'm assuming this isn't something that can knock us out turn one either because of the Lumen. I'm trying to think of like decks that play Lumen that can actually take a turn one attack. Obviously there are a lot of decks that could play Lumen that can attack turn one, and I am going to play around that by grabbing a second 3P. But I don't think that there are many decks that do generally play Lumen that could attack turn one. Maybe like Lost Box with Stone Lumen I could see. But looks like probably Lugia. Yep. Go Zach, what is up? How's it hanging? Lumen Start is very good for us. That is very nice to pick off against Lugia, especially if they use another one, and that is obviously even better for us. We did use Stone already, so we do not have a guaranteed Dragapult here. I don't want to Iono them, so I'm just gonna not. I'm not gonna risk them drawing something good on the chance that I draw Rare Candy Dragapult here, especially because I'd have to commit my Neo Upper to the active. I think I'm just going to commit this, Arvin. Do I have two cards I want to Ultra Ball away here? Could reasonably Ultra Ball away Arvin and Mela. I'm not going to get knocked out here, so just instead of Candy, I'm just going to go for that and get, yeah, I'll do this. So I'm going to Ultra Ball away Mela, Devo, evolve the active into the Dracloak, instead of going for Arven for Candy for next turn. I'll just evolve and draw a couple cards. Definitely want that. And then, so yeah, now if they draw pass again, we just have game. And even if they don't draw pass again, we have so many options for next turn. An angry emote, so I have a feeling probably going to see a pass back here, but they haven't passed yet, so I feel like if they just had a pass back, they just click it. But maybe they're just hoping I scoop or something. Nope. So let's go. Evolve Neo. I agree with them that donk is a double thumbs up emote for sure. Lugia definitely one of our worst matchups. That is one of the matchups that I think Xatu does better in. Just not having the 2-prizer that easily dies to Chinchino. Like, obviously they can Chinchino knock out your Dragapult, but the fact that they can knock out your draw engine really easily with Chinchino is really bad. Whereas, like, they're never going to, like, target down your Xatus and stuff, and Xatu will draw you a lot of cards. You just draw way more cards when you don't have Pidgeot out as Pult Xatu than you do as Pult Pidge, right? And there are a lot of matchups where it's part of your opponent's game plan to knock out your Pidgeot eventually, and usually after that point, you can struggle without having that draw power from Pidgeot. Whereas Pult Xatu, you just draw a lot of cards every turn, and the Pokemon that you do it with are single prizers, so it's a lot harder for your opponent to chase them down without throwing off their prize trade. But of course, if the Lugia player just opens Lumen pass, then we're chilling with whatever Pult build we play. Okay, so I am first, which I don't mind, but with this hand, I mind it a little bit more. As long as it's not something that can get a turn 1 attack, which it looks like it is Snorlax with a secret box. Whoa. I think Hero's Cape is definitely better in Snorlax than Secret Box, but what do I know? That's pretty funky. So yeah, we'll just Nest Ball for... There's actually, a good deck to have a slow start against. I mean, don't want your start to be too slow, but you can afford for it to be a little bit slow against Snorlax. Next turn, we're just going to Arven for Candy and Stone. We'll probably just Candy into Pidgeot, Quick Search for Neo Upper. And just do 120, because that sets it up for being knocked out on the bench anyways. As long as they don't fan. If they fan, then... even if they fan, it's fine, because I can put the Neo Upper. I can just not bench anything. They'll be forced to put the Neo Upper on my Droopy. They're going to go for a Grabber, though. So, I mean, considering us playing Grabber, Secret Box, I think this is probably going to be a pretty favorable game here. Okay, Cyrus, take your one discards cards until they have 3. I will get rid of an Arven, Vacuum. I mean, I might have kept the Vacuum if I didn't see Secret Box on the mulligan. So I know there's no Hero's Cape. Obviously, they have other tools that I would like to vacuum away, but none are as important as the Hero's Cape. I feel like I'm fine with getting rid of the Lost Vacuum. Okay, nothing on their side. Arven. It is a cheeky 0-6. It's not the strongest 0-6 in the world, though. We'll grab the Stone in case I get into Lumen, and that can get me game. Candy, Pidge. The fact that they grabbered the Dracloak's a little annoying, though. Nest Ball for the Duskull. And then I'm just going to quick search. I'm going to do this. Yeah, Zero Sick and then Grabber could have been a lot worse. They definitely missequenced that. And yeah, instead of attacking, like I said I was thinking about, I'm just going to do this, because if they don't bench anything, I can just go quick search for Lumen for Turo, Stone for Psychic for game. I already played a supporter this turn, so there was no way for me to get the Neo Upper Energy and the Pidgeot out of the active, I think. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong. Explain the line to me. But I did already play a supporter there, so I don't see how I can get the Pidgeot out of the active there and still win, or get like. I didn't have the cards to get Neo Upper Energy and Dusclops either. I don't think. Or could I have gone Lumen when I had Candy, Dragapult in hand? No, it was a quick search with Candy, so I didn't have enough cards, and I bet the Duskull that turn. So yeah, I don't think there's any way I could have won there. If I Nest Ball for Rotom, and then I Stone. No, there's not even in there. Sorry, just making sure. Oops, someone said it. Secret Box. The coveted Secret Box. I isn't saving them here. If that was a Hero's Cape, they'd still have pretty much nothing going on, so. This is a little scary, though. I think I will just have to Turo. Quick search. Gonna grab this. We're just slowly setting up to the point where we can. Because right now, like, our board's pretty good, honestly, and clearly their list is a little weird. We can maybe expect, like, less Flute. They clearly have fit a lot of other interesting cards in here, so I think we're going to have to Turo this because of the fan, making it so that we can't just +3 wind. And then, but I don't want to Turo it until we can start attacking, right? So we'll quick search for the Psychic Energy next turn, and then we'll quick search for the Turo after that. So it looks like they might not even play Rotom, I'm guessing, based on how they're playing this. Okay, Dusknoir is very good. We'll just evolve into it. I don't care if they know that I have Dusknoir. I'd rather just evolve into it than risk it getting Iono to the bottom. Or Grabbered. So let's go Psychic here. End turn. And then next turn, I can grab the Turo and take a double knockout with Phantom Dive, and then have no bench Pokemon for them to move my energy to with Handheld Fan. Force them to find Flute. Okay, I'm using Silene. See if it actually shows me what they put on top. Usually does not. If this game runs a long time, this might be my last game tonight. We'll see how long it takes to finish. They did get a bunch of Pokemon down with Flute, so that's pretty annoying. But like, I mean, I still just have to Turo. Quick search. Turo. I still have Palpad, so I can Turo the other Pidgeot as well. I don't get to play around Handheld Fan, which is unfortunate, but Turo. Curse Blast. Didn't get rid of my Super Out either, so I can still Curse Blast again this game, which is very important. Can you show a list of pulled Xatu before ending stream? I would. The only thing is I don't normally do that. So the thing, if this list is in my Schmancy's Corner article, and it's the deck that I'm playing today, so that is why I'm happy to give out the list. But typically, I try not to give out articles that I have written, that someone has paid me to write, give out lists from those articles. So I wrote an article on Schmancy's Corner about all 3 Pult builds, and because that list is in there, I'd rather not give it out, just because it doesn't feel fair to the people paying me to put my lists on their site, basically. But if I hadn't written an article on it, I would give you the list. If you have any other decks that you want to see my current list for, as long as I am not considering But if you do want the article for the list for Pult Xatu, I will say it's not super different from my list pre-Twilight Masquerade, or pre-Shrouded Fable, but it is on the Schmancy's Corner, as well as my Pult Zard list and this list. And I also include explanations for each list, and pros and cons to why to play each build and their different matchup spreads. Yeah, I can definitely share a link with you. So this is a link to, this is Alex Schmansky's Substack, fellow team member. Not gonna Pokestop to try to hit Candy. Yeah, counter catcher used against Quadlax. It's very funny whenever you get to do it. Obviously, if you take like a lead, then you can't really do it. But if you can get like a turn 2 Dusklops or Dusknoir, that is relevant. It's very funny. Or against like if you can Dusknoir multiple times in a game, I've counter catchered a few times as Zard into Snorlax, because you also have like double Duskull. And sometimes they have fighting Ogerpon, so they can take some prizes that way too. So it's actually like counter catcher comes up quite a bit in that matchup if Zard Dusknoir versus this deck. Okay, so I have Boss, so that's pretty good. They grabbed my Pidgeot though, so I'm gonna need to find Candy Pidgeot still. Basically just in draw pass mode for a while, and given that this probably will be my last game, because this game is probably going to be pretty long. Because I still haven't used my Palpad, so I'm going to be able to get Turo back. I'm in a pretty good spot still. I'm trying to hold out for Rare Candy Pidgeot, so I'm just going to Rare Candy Pidgeot Boss Rotom and retreat. But we'll see. They might just end up penning the Rotom before I draw that. Flute. Oh no, the Manaphy. That's so bad. I can Turo it. I have the Palpad in deck. Okay, they're going to penny the Rotom. Hopefully I can find the way to get the Palpad and use it before my Palpad gets discarded by Misfortune Sisters. It's looking very close. Thank you. I'm glad the article was a good read. No, it's I think it's a longer one too. A lot of information in there. I could use the Arvin to get Ultra Ball for Pidgeot, but then they might just grab her it anyways. Actually, I'll use the Arvin to get Ultra Ball for Dracloak and just draw a little bit more. Get rid of the Pidgey and the DM. Boom. It's gonna have to be the Pal Pad. I kind of wanted to save it for after I used Boss, but I don't want to risk it getting airied. The Boss isn't that important compared to how important it is that the Pal Pad doesn't get airied away. It just kind of sort of has to be played. You need that Turo. Any C-POW players in the chat? I'm sure we got a couple. I played C-POW in an online event a couple weeks ago. I think I came 10th or 11th. I just played the cookie cutter list that's been good. It will definitely change a little bit with Shroud and Fable though. Finally get some new tools. I think Chen Pao is actually much better next format than it is currently. Not by like an absurd amount, but Pheasant Deputy is really, really good. Especially because your opponent can like board wipe all of your both of your bibs, right? There's a lot of decks that can do that. So I don't want to attach the Psychic because I don't want to commit it anywhere. I will play the Poffin just to get it out of the deck. I'm just going to idle my opponent down to 5. Very handy Pidgeot would be very nice. Ultra Ball Pidgeot. I want to keep the Collapsed Stadium to get rid of this on the same turn that I Turo. Probably gonna get back some combination of Airy and Misfortune Sisters here, or double Silene, and then one of those. Yeah, double Silene, one Misfortune. Looks like it was gotten. Okay, technically I could attack this turn. I could go Lumen. I don't need to though. I was gonna say go Lumen for Turo, and then just collapse the Lumen. But I can just do this instead, which is much better. We'll go Collapsed, bump the Pidgey, Turo the Manaphy, bring up Dragapult, Ultra Ball away, Manaphy Luminion in case of Erica, grab another Dragapult, and then just Phantom Dive, 30, 30. Need some practice for the C-POW versus Control matchup. Yeah, definitely a very tough matchup for Chen Pao. Pretty rare that you can pull it a win against that one. That's sort of the thing about Control deck. I think that's the reason people don't like them too, is that not all matchups, but a lot of their matchups are like almost 100-0, and obviously it doesn't feel good playing on the 10 to 20% win rate side of the matchup. Most matchups don't have that many like auto wins, and people do not like playing against their auto losses. So Snorlax is one of those decks that Pidge Control a little bit less so. They can be a little bit more bricky, but Snorlax is one of those decks that kind of just always pulls off executes a strategy. It's pretty rare that it bricks. So if it's playing against one of its against like Charizard, Chen Pao, matchups that it's notorious for being very good into, it's almost always going to win. Chen Pao can definitely steal a little bit more games off of it than Charizard can, but if the Snorlax player really knows what they're doing, it's still very tough. picnic basket, and that is their not their first picnic basket either. How many do they play? Maybe the full 4. And they got the Fez off of. It's only showing me the top card. I want to see the whole discard. What is happening? I love TCG Live. That. Huh? Okay, well I guess I can't look at the discard file. There were a lot of heads flipped on this stream. It looks like my game might just be broken. I'm gonna give it a minute and just see. Oh, I guess I'll just let my timer run out. Keep trying to play stuff. Yeah. Anyway, definitely broken. It's unfortunate because I think I'm in a pretty good spot here still. If they don't have counter catcher. Yeah, they got in my game real quick. I assume this is going to be Cypher. Oh yeah, I was probably going to lose this game anyways then. Because they got the Fez on the flute. They're going to Cypher for counter catcher here. And then Pokestop use counter catcher. Nope, they're just going to do it the slow way. Okay. Now I can play. Oh, I guess I can just attach fire. I cannot play in general. I'm just going to candy the active. No point in waiting to do that. Because they can just pull the Defensivity anyways. If they pull the Defensivity, they win. So I will just go ahead and Jet Headbutt. Okay, maybe I can look at their discard pile now. 3 counter catcher down. Okay, they do just play the 1 picnic basket, but I think they... Or at least 1 picnic basket, but I think they got it back off Silene at some point. Picnic basket, definitely relevant. Yeah, there's the counter catcher. Bring up the Fez, and there is no more way I can win from there. I guess I can put 3 energy on Fez and use Cruel Arrow. Or they could deck out. They might only have... Their Team Yell's Cheer is down, 3 Palpad down. Actually... I think they're going to deck out if they get double tails on another Silene. So let's watch them use Silene. If they only play 2, we've only seen 2 so far. Their Yell Shear is down, 3 Palpad down. I'm going to attach this because we do need to use Cruel Arrow to have a chance. Well, I don't even have enough energy to use Cruel Arrow. But we'll pretend we do to make our opponent do stuff. Oh, they have a Palpad? They play 4? Okay, well they have multiple more Silene chances. They could still get. I'm not gonna concede. You know, this is my last game of the stream, and they could hit just so many tails on these Silenes. Okay, it's possible. All 4 of their Palpad are gone now. The Team Yell's Cheer is not gone. They can still use Team Yell's Cheer, so they have at least 6 more Silene flips. End turn. If they get 6 tails on Silene, we can still win. No. Okay, now we need. Oh, we need so many more. I don't think it's possible now. Okay, well, I mean it's definitely possible. We'll just pass. Because they put Palpad back, right? Yeah. So now they can Palpad. Yell's Cheer Silene. They can Silene. That's 2 tails. And then they can Team Yell's Cheer both Silene back in. So we still just need 6 tails. And they will deck out first. Misfortune Sisters might change that though. 6. So now they Team Yell's Cheer up to 6 themselves. Yeah, I think that is game, even if they flip all tails on Silene now. Well, no, because they're... Yeah, they'll go down to 0, and then Team Yell's Cheer. Yeah, that is checkmate. The 1 heads on Silene is for sure checkmate. So I will just scoop here. We had some good games on stream today. I think that game was pretty good too. They got really lucky on flutes. I think they hit their first flute hit Droopy Pidgey right after I turroed my right before I was going to Turo my Pidgeot out of play. And then on the following turn, the next flute they hit Manaphy, and then the last flute they hit Pheasantipity. So they just got the better end of it on the flutes there. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope it was a good stream. If you have anyone has any feedback, feel free to drop it in the chat or send me a message. But otherwise, have a great night. The list is, I showed it at the beginning of the stream and I showed it somewhere in the middle, so you can go back, just take a look, pause if you didn't catch that and still want to see the list. Have a great night, everyone.